Welcome back, fellow wanderers. Today we're going to do something I think is a lot of fun. We're going to do another loose floral painting. Now I'm suggesting that if you have 100% cotton paper, this would be a good time to use it. So I did it on a 9 by 12 Arches 100% cotton, and it just helped in pushing around the pigment and kept the paper wet longer. So if you have that, use it. If not, your 140-pound cold pressed will work just fine. The brushes that we're going to use, I'm going to use from that mop set that I told you about before. I believe it's Cobia that's selling these right now on Amazon. You can get 9 of them, and it is under $25 for 9. So I'll include the link for these as well. And then, as usual, we're going to find a way to insert my favorite, Chinese watercolor brushes. And these are just like $7.99 for 3 of them. So this is worth it. I'll also include a link for these. And just so that you remember, if you click on one of the links, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just puts a couple of cents into my pocket to go toward brushes and paper and paints. So this is what we're going to paint. Just a nice loose floral. I just think the colors are so pretty. They're some of my favorite. And I like the way that they look with the white mat. So I'll include a link to this mat that will fit the 9 by 12 painting size. And it just helps it to look a little bit more professional when you put a mat around your painting. So come on into the studio with me and let's paint these loose florals together. Okay, welcome back, fellow wanderers. I had a little break and I thought I want to try my hand at some loose florals and thought I would just tape it for you in case you want to follow along. Now, the colors that I'm going to use are Aureolin, which is cobalt yellow, and undersea green and phthalo blue. Those are my main colors. But then I'm also going to throw in some sap green and some quinacridone gold, which is my favorite color of all time. If you don't have this color, it would be worth it to get it and try it. It just adds such a pop. And then I have some darker colors, Payne's Gray, and I have something called Hematite Genuine. I'm just throwing it out here because I have it and I haven't used it much. It's a darker, earthy color, and we'll just see if we need it or not. All right, so I'm going to move all of these out of the way. Let's put these up here just so we can get to them if we need to. Now, I have a 9 by 12 Arches 100% cotton paper. Okay, the brushes that I'm going to use, mainly I'm going to do this mop brush. This is from that set that I've told you about before. I'll put the links to it below. There are 9 of them in the set, and you get them for $23 maybe. It's a fantastic deal, and I will include that below. So I'm using the number 5 today. All right, we're going to use a lot of water. We're going to do some splattering, and we're just going to have fun. So, okay, let's start with our green. So a lot of water on the brush. I'm going into this undersea green. And just making it super watery. And then I am just going to flick some, maybe. There we go. Flick some little spots onto my paper. Now, this does make a mess, just so you know. And then I'm going to get my brush wet, and I'm going to come in and just kind of push that around a little bit, because this is just kind of a background. So you can use any kind of green you want. If you don't have green, just mix yellow and blue together, and you will get green. Now, I'm going to leave some spots that are white, and I'm doing that on purpose, just for some highlights. Now, you see that there are those hard edges. I don't want hard edges per se in this, so I'm just coming in around those and just softening that up. And again, this is just for a background. We'll come back in with this color again, I think, in a bit. Maybe a little bit down in here. Just taking out some of the white of the paper, but I'm still leaving in the white of the paper. Okay, now that I've got that in, I'm going to go into this Aureolin, or it's also called cobalt yellow. Now this color should look pretty great in this. So I am going to flick this as well. So you just need to get a lot of water and pigment. And got to really shake your brush to get it onto your paper. Okay. And then I'm just going to push that around a little bit. Like that. And like that. Okay. Let that kind of bleed in with the green. And then I am going into this phthalo blue green shade. Now this is a really vibrant color. I'm not sure what this is going to do, but we are going to find out. And I am going to flick it over here. Yep, that's pretty phthalo blue. That looks pretty turquoise, doesn't it? All right, we're going to go with it and just see what happens here. Man, I'm really having to use my muscles to shake this thing. Okay, so I'm just going to really water this in. Now, when you're doing loose florals, there are so many different ways you can do them, or just loose painting. I would encourage you, watch multiple people on YouTube. There are people that have some pretty great techniques, and I'm learning as well. And so I am watching and learning from other people. Don't just learn from one. You want to keep growing on this journey. And though I love having your company, the goal of this is for you to learn watercolor. And it helps if you just are learning from different voices. All right, I'm going to come back in with this green. I'm going to get a little bit more on there and shake that in, kind of into this. These colors are playing really nicely together. I like this combination. Just like that. Maybe a little bit of the green over in here, and here, and here. Just some thicker of it. Okay. Just kind of push that around like that. Okay, if your paper is too watery and you have things that are a little bit dark, you can take Kleenex and you can put it on and just kind of lift out what you want to lift out. I think mine is pretty good, although I kind of like the look of the lighter spots. Now, yeah, I don't mind the round that just came out, but you can get some interesting shapes doing this. I kind of like that. Okay, so I need to be self-controlled and not totally take out my color. Okay. All right, now let's start building up some flowers. So I'm going to put a center in, and I'm either going to go with this Hematite Genuine. It's kind of a black. So I've got some burnt umber here. I didn't put that on the list, but I like to just use palettes that have color already on them, and then I can just pull from whatever. And I think I am going to maybe mix those two. So if you have burnt umber, that should work great. You could even throw some Payne's Gray into that if you wanted to. And then I am going to, like I see a bit of a flower here. So I'm just going to put in just like that. Okay, so I'm going to drop down in size with these red brushes, the mop brushes. This is a number 2. And I'm going to go into my yellow again. This is Cobalt Yellow, Aureolin, pretty watery. And I am just going to push some paint in, kind of in the shape of some petals. Now, there are some people that I've seen who just like flick in the paint and whatever it is that shows up, shows up. I'm going to put a little more control into this because I've got a lot of shaking going on here already. So we've already got some loose. And just kind of create some little petals. And then I'm going to go in with that burnt umber and just kind of come around these petals a little bit. Let's see what that does. I don't know if I like that or not, but I'm going to let it sit. Sometimes in watercolor, when you put something down, it doesn't please your eye right away, but oftentimes if you'll let it dry, you will notice that it's a different shade or a different value and that you kind of like it. Okay. Now, I do want some looseness to this, so I'm going to come out here like this and just soften up these edges a bit so that it's not quite so defined. Okay. Now, I want to use a color that I love, and I am going to use a brush that I love. Of course, we have to find a way to use a Chinese watercolor brush because it's my favorite. Okay, so I'm going into some quinacridone gold. Now, I love this color. It's like burnt sienna. So if you don't have quinacridone gold, you could use burnt sienna. It won't be as vibrant, but it will still give you a contrast with this yellow, with the Aureolin. I just love the way this interacts with the water and what it ends up doing as it dissipates. I just love that. Okay, so it's quinacridone gold. It's a Daniel Smith color, and I will put the link to that below. Okay, so we need to do something with our center. I'm going to come in here with burnt umber and just see. Now, I don't want that to spread too much. And then I'm also going to drop in a little bit of my quinacridone gold into that, just because I can. Okay. And while that's wet, I think I might even splatter some quinacridone gold. So I'm still using my Chinese watercolor brush. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. Somebody did a great job making this color. Okay. All right, so we've got one flower. Let's put in another one. So I'm going to go back to this mop brush, this number 2. Now, these say Grabby on them, but the company that's making them now on Amazon is Cobia, I believe. So the link that I have is to Cobia brushes. All right, so maybe let's put our center in first. So I'm going to go back to this Chinese watercolor brush. I'm going to go back into some burnt umber, and I'm just going to put a little center here. And while we're at it, let's just add one up here. Maybe, I kind of like the white of the paper there. Maybe one here, like this. Okay, that just gives us an idea of where we are putting our flowers, so I know where to put the petals. All right, so again, just push in some color, kind of in the shape of some petals. I'm learning to be loose, but I am not as loose as people that I've seen. I'm trying to get there, but I do like having a little bit of control over it. So we'll just have to journey this together, and maybe at some point we will find a way to loosen up a little bit more. But I really do like that. Okay, I'm going to throw in a little bit more of my cobalt yellow into that. Just, yeah, like that. Okay, and then into that, I'm going to throw in my quinacridone gold, and I'm going to use my Chinese watercolor brush. Here comes the magic. I do love that. I don't know why I love it so much, but I just think it is a beautiful color. What it does to the picture, I just think is magical. So, quinacridone gold. Okay, and no, I am not sponsored by Daniel Smith Watercolor. I just really like that color. Okay, now I probably need to loosen that a bit. So let's do that first, and then we will go in and do a little bit of splatter with that. So just to loosen, you just get your brush wet and come along the edges and just kind of tickle them out a little bit. You don't have to tickle out all your edges. It's nice to have some edges that are sharper, hard edges, they're called. But I do like it being a bit softer. Okay, now I'm going to get some more quinacridone gold. Get your brush wet so that it'll flick, so you can splatter. And okay, I don't want to overdo it, but I do love this color. Okay, stop. Okay, I'm going to go back to this number 2, I believe. Yes, my number 2 mop brush. And again, these are not expensive, and they work so well. You can spend so much money on brushes. And I have found that this set does exactly what I need it to do. And it's just a couple of dollars for each brush. Okay, that worked. All right, let's go ahead and soften the edges a bit, just like that. Pull that yellow out a little bit. There we go. And then let's go to our quinacridone gold and throw some of that in. Okay. Now this is all kind of looking a little bit too yellow, so we're going to have to do something about that. And it might be because of my splatters, but I'm still going to splatter because I can't help myself with this color. Okay. So let's throw in some green or some blue in between here. Now, I don't want it to run too much into my yellow. It is starting to dry down a little bit. All right, so I'm going to take this brush again, but I'm not going to have it be so wet. Let's start with the green. This is undersea green. I'm even going to tap my brush off. Not sure if that's necessary, but yeah, I just want to bump up the contrast between these two flowers. And so throwing the green in there helps differentiate them. Yeah, I like that. and maybe even a little bit thicker of a paint, like that, and even up here between petals. Helps to define the petals. It's kind of a negative shape. All that means is you're painting around the object, not painting the object, and when you paint around it, it helps to define the shape. Now that I've done that, I don't know that I like that petal so much, so I might be going in and changing that a bit, but let's just play around and see. Okay, that does really help though to have that green in there. Can you see the difference that makes? I'm even going to put a little bit here and up in here. Yeah, it helps to define your petals a bit. Okay, so we've got the green. Now I also want to throw in some of this blue, but let me go up here. Let's go up into our flower up here, and whoops, and let's just do the same thing. Get rid of that. Okay. And just kind of shape it out around. Now, let's see. Okay, yep, that helps to shape it. Let's do a little bit more of that. And keep in mind, we are playing. You are just having fun. No stress here. No stress trying to get the paint down quickly or trying to get it just right. We're just playing, and then if you don't like it, come in and change it. That's what I love about this loose kind of painting. And I've watched some people on YouTube that have been really helpful. They're just kind of laid back, and I appreciate that. Then I don't feel so stressed. Okay, I'm thinking that that's really pretty. Now, I think it's going to really pop when we throw in some blue. Yep. Okay. And I want it to not be terribly uniform. So I'm going to do some flicking here. And then I'm going to push it around a bit. Okay, my computer, my phone, my table, they're just full of splatters. But maybe that's the sign of being a watercolorist. Okay. There we go. Okay, I like that. Now we need to put some of this color in here. There. Watercolor has been such a relaxing thing for me, and something to discover it close to 60 when I first discovered watercolor. It has been so life-giving to me. I'm so thankful for this opportunity to, this late in life, play around with something creative and realize that I can do it. So I hope you're finding the same. I hope that it is encouraging you to kind of discover and to play like it is me. And there's not really any consequence if the playing goes awry, which is kind of nice. There are other things in life that as you get older, you kind of have to slow down on because the consequences are broken bones or strained muscles. So I did try, a couple of weeks ago, my husband and I went to the driving range, and I have not been golfing it's been about 10 years. And okay, I covered up a bit of my flower. So I went because I'd love to get back into golf. My husband loves golf, and we used to play it when we were younger. All right, so I'm gonna build up my flowers here a little bit. So I'm just gonna be going into this aureolin, the cobalt yellow, and then the quinacridone gold, and then my centers. Okay, so back to my golf story. So for my husband's birthday, I got him just a 9-hole, because it's been a long time, just a 9-hole ticket, one for him and then one for me, to a local golf course. And so we have done some travel. We did a pilgrimage, took some people on a pilgrimage, a 75-mile pilgrimage, and I thought, I better not injure myself before this pilgrimage. So we didn't go play the 9 holes yet. But we decided when we got back from that, why don't we just go hit a bucket of balls? So my husband got my golf clubs out of the attic, and my bag and my shoes, and we headed to the golf course. So we're hitting the balls, and I notice there are some little white things on the grass while I'm hitting the balls. It's the spikes. Now my shoes are old, and so now they have spikeless shoes, but mine had spikes. So my spikes were coming off as I was hitting. I thought, well, okay, that's all right. When I finished hitting, we were going to walk over to do some putting, and as I started to walk away from the driving range, the sole of my shoe detached, and it was just flopping. So I walked in my socks over to our car, and thankfully had brought another pair of shoes, not golf shoes, just regular shoes, some tennis shoes. And so I went to put those on. In the process of walking over to the car, the second shoe detached from its sole. I have not played in so long, and these shoes have just sat in the heat in the attic, and yeah, they were old to begin with, I think. So my shoes came apart. I looked down at my hand as I was getting ready to go over to the putting green and putt, and I had a huge blister on my thumb from hitting the balls because I probably wasn't gripping the club right, and it's been so long. So I've got this blister. It's bad, but I still want to putt. So we go over and we start putting, and we have a little putting contest, and I look down and my hands are black. My putter grip was coming off on my glove because my putter is so old. So I was quite a sight going into the clubhouse. After we hit the bucket of balls, we went in to go have some lunch. Oh, I think the people in the clubhouse were thinking, oh, I hope these two are not planning on being a part of our golf course. But we had a great time. And what's really fun is my husband is so kind. He promptly drove me to Dick's, and we looked at shoes and bags and carts. We ended up just ordering them on Amazon, but I now have a whole new setup, and I am so excited about playing golf again. And we're going to do walking instead of riding in a cart because we need the exercise. Golf is something you can grow old doing together. My dad was a really good golfer, and my mom was not into golfing. And I think she sometimes felt like she was a golf widow. And I didn't want that when I got married and realized my husband and his father were very into golf. And so I just learned how to play golf, and I love it. So I'm glad to be jumping back into that world. But it is different playing when you're older. It's crazy how much your body starts hurting. Muscles that you think you're using all your muscles every day, but you wake up in the night with lots of pain. Okay, so this is turning out interesting. It's kind of all the same value though. And so I'm now trying to figure out what do I do about that. I think if I darken up my centers and maybe the blue, darken the blue a little bit. Okay, so again, remember, we're just playing, and you're just trying to figure out how to do this in a way that looks pleasing to your eye. And so remember, you can come in and take off color with a Kleenex and get some soft spots, some lighter spots. Now that kind of helps. I like that. So this one was just kind of getting lost, but I do like taking some of that color out. Okay, so let's bump up the blue and let's see what that does. All right. So my channel is called Wanderings with Mary Kay because I do like to wander into things and try things, and so I'm trying my hand again at golf. And maybe I'll do some videos out on the golf course, having some contests with my husband. Maybe some of you want to jump back into golf or into golf for the first time. What's nice about golf is you can go to the driving range and you're not having to commit to a whole game, and you can just practice your swing, and it doesn't cost much money. It's about $15 for a bucket of balls, at least here where we are. And then if you enjoy it, you can jump into it. Okay, so I want to bring this out a bit like this. I need to tie it in here. I don't want it to just be blue floating around out here. So we just want to soften the edge like that. And same here, soften this edge and here. I kind of like the darker pop, and maybe I will put one here. I'm going to wet it a little bit first, just like that. And then drop in some thicker paint. This is paint right out of the tube. And that helps to give it a darker value. Yeah. Okay, I am liking that. Now, one thing that I've seen is throwing white into this. I'm not sure if I want to do that, but I'll never know if I don't give it a try. So before I do that, I am going to go into these centers, and I am going to darken up that center. So I'm going into that Hematite Genuine. Now you can also use Payne's Gray. I'm going to do Hematite Genuine. Let's see. Yeah. And just darken those in some spots. I do like that. And I like the way this has kind of run into. I really like that. I don't like that right there. Let's do something about that. Let's get some green. Just push that in like that. And maybe get some more of this green out here. Need a little more of our green color. There. Super colorful. Okay. Okay, I really like that. I think I'm going to splatter a bit more quinacridone gold. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to put it right from the tube. Get some nice color here because I can't help myself. Okay, so here's some quinacridone gold. Yes. Oh, this color makes me so happy. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, but I'm gonna need to practice self-control because probably less is more. Okay, that's great. I think I like this just like this. I don't think I want to add the white to it. I'm a little nervous to add the white to it. Now, this petal was bugging me before. It's still bugging me a little bit, so I'm going to be a little bit, there we go, just like that. Okay. And I've lost my flower down here. So I am gonna just add a tiny bit of shape to these petals, just a little bit of outline. You don't have to color it in, but if you just give a faint outline like this to these petals, see how it makes it kind of pop then from the page. It's not just a blobby mess. I mean, it didn't look like a blobby mess, but still, you know what I mean. Okay. I like it. I think I like the white here. I think I'm going to do the same thing. Let's see what happens if we add a little bit of flower petal shape to that. And maybe just soften that edge a little bit. Now you could just sit here and play and play and play, and feel free to do that. Okay, so the last thing that I want to do, I'm going to get my fingers wet, and I'm just flicking in some water. Not sure if this is a smart thing to do, but look at how it adds some texture. I do like that. Okay, don't want to go too crazy, but it does help it to be kind of loose. Okay, I do like that. Okay, so I hope yours turned out. If it didn't, don't be discouraged. Turn it over and try to get on the other side. Painting loose, you just never know how it's going to turn out, but don't give up on it. So thanks for wandering with me. Come back and wander with me again soon, and blessings to you.